welcome to another episode of the Mighty Movie Podcast. My name is Ryan. I'm joined, as always, by Josh. Say hello.
Hello.
Welcome back. We're in your ear holes for another edition.
I do what I'm told.
Tell the people what you want to tell them, Josh.
Hello. I didn't have anything. I was just like, I just do what I'm told.
How you doing?
I'm fine. Tired. I'm good though.
Okay. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Are you ready for the biggest episode of the year?
Oh my God. Episode 3 of the year?
Yeah, right. It's the biggest one of the year. It's not our fault. They loaded the end of the year.
But they always do.
That's
Hollywood.
what they always do.
Hollywood. You know how Hollywood is. I love it when people talk about Hollywood like it's a sentient being. You know, like,
right.
Oh, you know what Hollywood
the
thinks.
Machine.
And it's just like, what does Hollywood think? Do you have a lot of conversations
Well,
with
it's
Hollywood?
a lot like the liberal elite, Josh.
Oh, yeah.
You know how they are.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Anyway.
That's weird. So, yeah, we're here. We're in your ear holes, like I said. And
back again for the 89th time.
we got a little bit of housekeeping at the front.
Yeah.
Leading directly into the new Spider-Man movie, which I forgot what the name of it was. I think it's called No Way Home.
Spider-Man Home Cooked Lunch.
I just keep saying the new Spider-Man.
Spider-Man Homeless. That's
They'll
what
have
the next
home
one's
in
going to
it.
be called. The next one's going to be called Spider-Man Homeless.
But he has a home. It's been inside him. Home is where the heart is.
Home is
Josh.
where the heart is, but his heart is gone.
Mm-hmm.
It forgot he existed.
It's true. Josh is just throwing the spoilers out.
I don't give a shit.
That doesn't actually. I don't know. That actually,
no, his heart doesn't forget.
Without context, that means absolutely nothing. So
this will be spoilery.
But yeah, no. I'm going to give I was just about to give the disclaimer. We are going to be talking spoilers for both movies we're talking about today, which is going to be Eternals.
Yes.
Because I went to the movie theater a few times now, and I've seen some stuff. Spider-Man, Eternals. Get Eternals out of the way. And then we'll move right into what should be an interesting discussion for an interesting movie that is Spider-Man. I don't know if we're going to disappoint on this one.
I don't know where we're gonna lie.
But I will say the movie is interesting.
We've both actually managed to not spoil that conversation for each other.
No.
And I don't know where Ryan sits. I know where I sit because I'm me.
I have a lot of complicated feelings about that movie.
I think that's a good summation.
Yeah.
Right there with you.
A lot of complicated feelings, and while we were joking...
We'll see where we fall on the side of those complex.
And that's what I'm most interested to talk to you about, because there's a lot of implications with that movie about what they decided to do with some of the writing and with some of the characters and with their direction following the end of the Infinity Saga, and when they brought when they brought in a character late to that, but don't seem like they want to carry him forward in the bigger overarching movie narrative.
No, it seems
but which is a positive, I think, for Spider-Man. If you listen back to our original Homecoming discussion, there's a lot about how he's not a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
No.
And lacking some of the elements that Josh thought and I thought was okay. We're on the wrong movie. We'll be back to this. We're going to talk about Eternals first.
Okay.
But
I'd much rather talk about Eternals.
Yeah, Eternals.
Because I think I spoiled my thoughts on that last time where I said I fucking love it. Yeah.
Yeah. And
one of very, very few that loved the Eternals.
So I'll start it off then, Josh. We're talking about the Eternals. Yeah, Eternals is fucking great, man. It's a very cool fucking movie. It's a weird, cool movie.
It's very weird. It maintains kind of the status quo of the Marvel formula while breaking it.
Yeah.
It's as long as Infinity War, and I feel like it did need to be, but it does drag in a lot of places.
It does, but it's answering like you said, there's a little bit of formula there in how they construct a movie narratively.
Like it's got some of the Marvel formula of movie making.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
But overall, it's I really liked it because it doesn't make a lot of sense if you want to think about it too hard, but it is just asking.
Neither the most Chris Nolan movies.
Right. It's asking more bigger picture questions and about super beings, which these people are like actually almost gods.
Yeah.
And they're asking big cosmic questions. And at the end of it, you're not even sure that anybody's doing the right thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's very complicated and big.
It's one of those movies where I'm not sure if the good guys won, and I'm not sure who the good guys were.
And who the bad guys even are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously what the Celestials want is bad. But in the grand scheme of things, is it? You know,
yes.
It's that's what I liked about it. It's very philosophical. I liked it a lot. I liked a lot of the character development. It's very character driven. I like a lot of the world building that went on. That was really cool.
And the Celestials, I like a lot.
The Celestials are awesome.
I like a lot. First of all, there's a visual near the end of the movie, which is just like so good that like a lot of that throughout, that it's real big and real, like just different. You know what I mean?
That we got the real sense of scale with the Celestials, that they are just massive, because even the one that we see coming up out of the earth is dwarfed by the one that comes to the planet.
Yeah.
So that was incredible. And that's the thing that I liked a lot, because the Celestials are just massive in the comics and stuff. So it's really cool.
And I like their importance, or their perceived importance in the universe and whatever, but they make some stupid fucking mistakes.
Yes.
And that's basically, it's up for debate what is the right thing, and the mistakes they made and how they're trying to cover it up, and is this their own fault? And overall, it's in service of the greater good. It's in service of the greater good and the continuing of the cosmos for the most part. But
well, and their introduction makes me interested to see if we'll ever get Galactus via the Fantastic Four that are going to be starting up.
Yeah. Are they doing that? Every time I think they're not doing, something else happens.
I saw something. Somebody was talking about. Oh, I looked up, because we were talking about, we couldn't remember who the director of the Spider-Man movies were. It is John Watts.
Yes.
And I looked it up, and apparently he's doing Fantastic Four as well, which makes me sad, because I really wanted Jim from The Office to get it, because he was campaigning for the Fantastic. Yeah, John Krasinski. He was campaigning for it for so long. I really was hoping. I was just like, dude, I like A Quiet Place. I like John Krasinski. I don't like The Office, but I do like John Krasinski. And if it's him and Emily Blunt playing Reed and Sue, that's going to be great. But I'm hoping that when we get those, if they will inevitably bring in Galactus. I think they're going to pause on that, because Giant Purple Guy wants to destroy the world. We don't need to go to Giant Purple Guy from space wants to destroy the world again. Maybe pause on that for a bit. But if
even
they
though
do,
there's big implications with this movie when it comes to Thanos' origins and his plans.
I was going to bring that up. I thought that was really interesting, the way that they did. I'm going to go off on this for a bit. What I said is anecdotal. It's just, if they bring in Galactus is kind of the counterbalance to the Celestials.
You just think, wait,
yeah. But so I think it would be interesting if we have those same philosophical repercussions when Galactus shows up and is like, is Galactus really bad for eating worlds? Because he's technically stopping Celestials and bringing a balance to the universe, and it's really cool. Where was I going?
That'll hit hard.
Thanos. I like that they brought up that the Snap actually postponed the plans. I thought that was really, really cool that they how they addressed why they didn't get involved, and that it was actually beneficial to mankind that he did what he did. And that is kind of like a very quick summary of the entire philosophical conundrum of the Eternals. Is like, is it necessarily bad, or is it good? You know, is this good or bad? You know, there's a lot of that goes on. There's a lot of gray areas in
True.
Eternals, and I love that, because everything so far has been pretty stark black and white, and it's this is good, this is bad, and now we got that. Uh-oh.
Tony Stark.
Oh God.
But no, you're right. That always has been the bigger problem. They tried to do shit with Civil War, and the whole time it was just like people who are wrong are like very clearly wrong, and nobody will talk to one another.
Yeah.
And then in this one, there's a lot of them standing around talking about what they should do, and people being very
constant debates,
steadfast of what they believe.
This is the mission. Yeah.
But then it's just they still were able to hear each other out and be like, I don't care what you think, this is what I'm going to do. In Civil War, it just blew up in their face like immediately. Nobody talked to one another. It just turned into, I want to see a scene of people fighting.
Like, I want to see an airport where everybo's here punching each other.
And this one, it was a lot of the weird character motivations, like when it came to the little girl. And like other
least favorite character.
Sure. It was dumb, but it at least was like not everybody is thinking about this the same way. Just like when
she did not care about the bigger picture at all. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just like when you have the guy who can control people's minds, just being like, because again, they're being lied to the whole time. They're just like, why don't we just do this? And why don't we do that? And a lot of the explanations for what their purpose and what their role in shaping humanity was like, it kind of didn't make a lot of sense. And they would bring in things and be like, this is why we did this and this is why we did that, and it was a lie, so this was actually helping this. If you think about it too hard, I think it kind of washes out a little bit. But overall, you're like, okay, like everybody with their different power sets, with their different ideals, but overall what they were there to do, and then what overall they were really there to do.
Yeah.
Really gave you like a sense of, wow, they gotta figure something out. Like it's not like bad guy, destroy the world, kill him.
Yeah, no, Jack Kirby, when he created the Eternals, it was one of the best things that he ever did. I've actually gone and read a couple of Eternals storylines and stuff. I mean, I'm by no means an expert on them, but a lot of like that philosophical stuff comes through there, and it happened with a lot of the old cosmic books like that, and Silver Surfer, and Adam Warlock and stuff like that. That was all cool shit. And they've touched on these kind of topics briefly in the other stuff, like when Vision points. Most of it's from Vision. When Vision points out that Stark is quite possibly the greatest villain that Earth has ever had, from a certain point of view. And then when Vision's having that conversation with himself in WandaVision was another one where it's what's right, what's wrong, like, are you me or who's who here, that kind of thing. And so much of that is in Eternals, and it's great. Plus it also gave me Black Knight, and I love Black Knight.
Yeah. So. Yes. It's very confusing for me because whenever I see Rob Stark, I always say Jon Snow, and then I go, wait a minute, and then both of them are in this movie. Very confusing, but I figured it out. If you want to talk about some of the end credit things or some of the implications of this franchise going forward, so Harry Styles is playing. Did you know that was Harry Styles, by the way?
No, I knew Harry Styles was supposed to be in it, and I remember his face on a magazine, and I was like, oh, sure. That's better.
He was also in Dunkirk, but that was like the only other thing he ever did that I can remember. He's obviously in One Direction, which is still going on, I think.
Well, they can only move in one direction.
That's true. Anyway, he's playing, give me the name. Is it what's Thanos' brother? What is his name?
Eros?
Oh, yeah, there we go. Him being a normal person and hanging out with an elf or whatever.
He's a dwarf.
He's a dwarf.
Yeah.
Patton Oswalt. Pip.
Wait, no. Is he a dwarf or a gnome? I can't. Dude,
doesn't matter.
He's from Journey into Mystery, if I remember right. So he's like an obscure character.
But
cool to see him again. These were all very obscure characters because nobody really remembers the Eternals at this point.
Exactly.
And it was cool to see super obscure characters like the Eternals.
Everything with Captain Marvel and what they were doing, like in WandaVision, and every time like we fought Nick Fury was there, and it ended up being whatever those aliens were called that were in Marvel or in Captain Marvel. the ones that look, that were disguising themselves as
the Skrull.
The Skrull. All that stuff and them leading up to stuff, I was kind of like, whatever. I just don't care. Like, I get it. Whatever. And now after Eternals, and they're bringing in some of these goofier characters, and they're like, it's fucking... It's Thanos' brother. And they're like, why is Thanos a weird purple guy? And they're like, well, because, they fucked up when they were making Eternals and stuff. But again, it's funny that if Thanos is working for the Celestials...
I don't think Thanos was working for the Celestials. Thanos was on his own.
And then broke off to do his own thing. He's just kind of like, well, I'm also just kind of sort of doing the exact same thing they were already doing, which is a little bizarre. But... that's fine. If he's going to wipe out half the people, maybe that was his plan. He's like, I wipe out half the people, and then all of a sudden the Celestials can't fucking keep reproducing. Suck it, idiots. I don't know. So there's bigger questions there about, like, he wasn't just like coming to Earth to be a dick, which of course they talked about that in Endgame, where it's like, there's a lot of worlds with a lot of stuff going on, but this is the first one with these guys, with the Eternals, that I'm like, maybe I do care. Because Guardians of the Galaxy is just like, it's fun.
It's just fun.
Serial adventure. I don't want a grander scale for Guardians.
No.
So now these characters kind of hit with me. The kind of goofier yet more philosophical aspects of it. I'm just like, okay, I'm down to see what they want to do with this.
Yeah, no. I'm wondering if we're gonna get mentioned to this sleeping celestial in future Marvel films, because that thing's half out of the water.
Yeah, right.
Like,
that sure looks like a hand and an eyeball.
That sure looks like a half of a face.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It brings in some of that weird shit that goes on in the Marvel universe.
Somebody's gonna mine into it or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And they find some hidden power.
Somebody's gonna take a science sample of it, and that's how we get Wonder Man or something.
Exactly.
I didn't make up Wonder Man. Wonder Man's a real character. He sucks.
Wonder Man. Do you want to talk about the characters of this film, Josh? We're talking about, like, there's a lot of
the
them.
idea. Yeah, the idea.
Instead of them as a collective,
I liked what they did with Angelina Jolie's character, and I wanted more of. Was she Ajax?
Who was
Angelina Jolie? Was that Ajax?
No, Ajax was Salma Hayek.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay, yeah. No. Angelina Jolie's character.
She was
the big guy. Yeah. Athena. Yeah. Athena, not Athena. Athena. Athena and the big guy. I can't remember what his name was, but I really wish that the movie had centered around them. Yeah. Because I was intrigued about that. How, like, they're not real life forms, but they still have a form of, like, Alzheimer's and PTSD combined together. I thought that was really interesting, and I liked that she seemed truly affected by this.
Yeah. Well, it was the fact that when they redid their memory to send them on their next mission,
they never were able to blank out their memory.
They just fucked it up. Yeah.
It happened every time.
And they were just going to fix it, and then they're like, no, I'll just take care of her. She wants to remember who she is, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, overall, I would have preferred to see her be herself a little bit longer before that happened.
Yeah, she was not really... when it came to, because, like, there's so many backstories in this, and she seemed to get the least amount of development. Like, it seemed like the idea of her being messed up was the main driving force, and they really wanted to go with her being messed up, and we didn't get enough of her beforehand, so we didn't really get to feel that loss.
It was they used her as, like, a plot device as proof of their former lives. Like, that's what they used her for.
But I thought that her and the big guy were really well done. I really, really liked them. I liked them more than Cersei and Superman.
Yeah.
Can't remember his name. That was the other thing that I thought was very funny. Icarus, yeah.
He flies into the sun, Josh. How could you forget?
Straight into this. I couldn't remember his name. Oh my God.
Icarus.
Yeah. I remember we were initially talking about this. I was just like, yeah, it's like a metaphor, but not. Jesus Christ. I found them more interesting than the will they won't they couple. But I liked Icarus's character because in the books, Icarus is like the hero. He's the, and in this, he's maybe a dickhead. I mean, he was willing to kill all of them.
He killed Ajax.
Yeah. Killed Ajax and almost killed Athena. We didn't get enough. The Deviants needed to be there because the Deviants were the main enemies in the comic.
Yeah.
And the Celestials. But the Deviant did not get enough time at all for me to care about it being there. I was just like, oh yeah, that's still a guy that's out there. This just, you got a bigger problem at hand than these mutants running around.
That was mutants, the point.
But
yes, that was the point. Is that they were told they were there to help them out, but they were all part of the same clan. They were all doing the same thing. They were not actually their enemy, quote unquote. They were put there by the Celestials to do the first part, but they didn't know how to get rid of them. So then they sent the Eternals to take care of the second part.
They were the cleanup crew.
Yeah. And it's like, it just comes down to the whole, who really is the bad guy here? It just really played into that. But yes, they could have gone further with them for sure.
Yeah, it just seemed like they threw...
Well, it was misdirection, and then once it was gone, what else are you really going to do?
Yeah, I mean, Angelina Jolie bit it to one of them. So, well, the one, I guess, at that point. Yeah, I really liked Athena and the big guy. Icarus, I like what they did with him a lot. Cersei was your typical hero origin story kind of thing, except it's not really an origin. It's more like a resurgence, I guess.
Yeah.
I liked Kumail's character.
It was finding herself without Icarus.
Yeah. I liked Kumail a lot.
Sure.
I really thought that was going to get annoying, him and his sidekick. And it actually lent a lot of heart to everything. They could have played that way more goofy, way more wacky. And I mean, as comedic as it was, it never felt inappropriate. And I liked that guy was just down for whatever. He was like, no, it's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. He told me everything.
I liked... It kind of got to me when he's like, thank you for everything that you've done, you know, and when they thought they were going to lose and everything, you know, and it was just, you know, like, thank you for trying.
He's like, go home. It's the end of the world. All right. Yeah. Yeah. And I liked that it was like, that was their money guy, even though they could have accumulated a ridiculous amount of wealth for all of humanity, but
at all.
Yeah, but whatever.
And then, the cult guy never sat well with me. I never liked that guy.
Nope.
And
I think that was the point.
I see that's what I thought. I was like, I'm not supposed to like this guy. This guy's fucking wrong and weird, and I don't trust him at all. But then, like, he was right the whole time. So yeah, that's interesting characters because nobody's really good and nobody's really bad either. They just do a good thing. Maybe.
Exactly. Maybe. Yeah, that's why I liked it. All the characters, some of them, we spent a short amount of time with them. They weren't developed very well.
No, not a lot of them.
But some of them, some of them are cool. You kind of click with them.
I think if the kid had got more time and we saw her struggle with being a kid for millions of years, it would have hit a little harder. But when she does her big reveal where she's like, nah, I'm going with Icarus because I love this guy and I don't got anything else, you know, and I'm a kid forever.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, okay.
Yeah. And then they made her a real girl.
Yeah. Then they made her a real girl. Now she has no powers, I guess.
That's what I was wondering too.
But then because then I was like, well, how's she going to get off the island? You know?
Yeah. And she should have turned Jon Snow into a giraffe. But she wasted all the rest of her power making somebody a real girl. Yeah, there's some goofy elements in it. But overall, no, I just like, I mean, it's nothing like, wow, this is a game changer.
No.
But overall, it was just like, wow, that's cool. It's different.
It was just nice to see different, you know, and that was the thing. Like, it didn't look like a Marvel movie. It wasn't filmed like, it definitely wasn't shot like one. No. A little bit more artistic freedom going on with that one. And I know it was their Oscar bait movie. And I mean, come on, you're dreaming.
Of course.
And that's the thing that I think is shitty is like, it's like a flop because they didn't get nominated or even noticed, you know? And I'm like,
I forgot the movie was coming out. I didn't know who any of these people are. That marketing was fucking weird.
Marketing was terrible for it. Marketing was absolutely awful for this movie.
Then I sat down and I was like, this is fucking weird. I like this. And then it just got better and better and better. And then it was over. And I was like, yeah, I could do with some more of that.
Yeah. I'm hoping we get more Eternals. I know that it did not review well with audience or critics. And that sucks because it was the first completely different movie from all the other movies, and I would like to see more different in the Marvel universe.
I agree.
Let's sit down and have some conversations and not just punch our problems away all the time.
Yeah, and of course we're not typically the target audience. We kind of are. We're big nerd. We're big nerd man children, but we also are like weird. God, I'm going to sound like such a weirdo. Never mind. We also like big, boring, dumb cinematic movies, like boring, long, classics type of cinema. So
I loved the movie Fences, and that movie is about people sitting on a back porch talking.
Exactly. Yeah, of course. Well, I think we may have even talked about that movie on this here podcast.
We talked about that. I think when we talked about Blade Runner, we said it was long, it's boring, and we love it.
Yep, exactly.
That movie's got its fair share of action too. But
so there's room. There's a Venn diagram where this movie's kind of perfect for us. But I don't know if it hits the typical Marvel fan. Target.
And we're not trying to sound like pretentious douchebags or anything like that, but it's just, it was nice to see a very story heavy, very dialogue heavy Marvel movie, because there are action set pieces in here and they're pretty cool, but mainly it was just hanging out with people discussing the moral ambiguity that they're caught in, and that was really cool. Really, really cool. It's what I wanted from Civil War. It's what I wanted a lot in Civil War. I mean,
and just cool, grand visuals. Well. That's what really got
incredible visuals. Just a really cool movie all the way around. I liked it a lot.
I agree. I don't really have a lot of gripes with it, other than
some characters are undercooked.
We can't get involved unless it's with the what are the bad guys, the bad creatures called?
Deviants.
The Deviants. Unless it's the Deviants. But if their secret plan was to make sure there's as much sentient life as there can be, they should have probably stopped 9/11, you know what I mean? Or something like that.
They can't alter the course, man.
Yeah, right. And then they even talk about when Thanos fucked it up.
Quick question. Did 9/11 happen in the Marvel universe?
That's a very good question.
Because I know that when Iron Man starts, he's selling weapons to America, and I'm assuming they're in Afghanistan. So I'm wondering if it's not been addressed, but it is an issue.
I think so. That's a weird question to ask. But also,
it's never introduced in my head until you brought that up.
If you've listened to my Ant-Man Dazzler hookup / team up fan fiction, in that 9/11 happened.
It did.
So that's proof.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I'm saying my fan fiction's canon.
That's a bold claim. We have to take that up with Joe Quesada.
That's an interesting question. So I'm gonna say yes. Not only that, because Josh, now Sam Raimi's Spider-Man is technically part of this canon. Which, if you remember, early before that movie came out, the Twin Towers were there, and there was the whole was spinning a web between the Twin Towers.
They had to put the
and then they
movie
got
out.
rid of that ad because 9/11 had happened.
And that leads us into...
And that leads us neatly into... So, would you recommend people watch Eternals? I think by January.
I think it's January.
Early January. People can just watch it on Disney Plus. That's a definite go watch it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would definitely say check it out. It's long. Like we said, it's about the same length as Infinity War and Endgame. So, it's one of the longest ones. And I enjoyed it. If you don't, I get it.
Yep. Hey,
check it out.
You recommended it to me. I went and watched it in theaters, and I was like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
So there it is. It gets 4 thumbs up.
Boom, boom. That's 2 thumbs from both of us.
All right. The time has come. We go into the main event, Josh. The moment everybody has been waiting for.
What do these guys have to say about the man-piter?
Spider-Man. No Way Home. Josh, what did you think of Spider-Man No Way Home?
I don't know. I know I don't really care for it, and that's par for the course. And I'm on record as saying, like, Amazing Spider-Man is my favorite live-action Spider-Man movie. But I have never been a big fan of the live-action Spider-Mans. I've never liked any of them very much, excepting Amazing Spider-Man. And this one, like, I don't really know. I know I didn't care for it that much, but that's nothing new. Everybody's heard that from me before. But like overall, like it was like, I feel weird about it, I guess is the way to put it.
The way I think I put it in the beginning is it's a bizarre, if enjoyable movie. I enjoyed myself, but it was so bizarre what they are doing with this
Peter,
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
This movie will be hard to talk about without spoilers. So spoiler heavy discussion coming right now.
Absolutely. So I obviously was 12 years old when the original Spider-Man came out.
Oh, yeah.
I watched them. We all know how I feel about Amazing Spider-Man. You can go back and listen to us talk about Homecoming, where we talk about both of those movies a lot.
We yell. We don't really yell. We get heated.
Yes. That being said, for whatever reason, Andrew Garfield in this movie made me go like, yeah, man, like they kind of did our boy dirty, right?
They really did our boy dirty. And that leads me to one of my largest complaints about this fucking movie.
Is it Jamie Foxx?
No, but I got stuff to say about Jamie Foxx. We'll get into that. No, it's
anyway.
It's the thanking Avi Arad in the end credits. Fuck that guy. He does not deserve a bit of thanks. That motherfucker has ruined every Spider-Man film.
They're contractually obligated to.
I feel like he wrote that himself. He's like, oh, that's big ups to Avi Arad, the original fan. Without him, you fucks, you wouldn't have your Marvel movies. Fuck you, Avi Arad. You forced Venom into the third Spider-Man movie when Sam Raimi didn't want him there. You fucked up Amazing Spider-Man 2. The reason that movie's a shit pile is because of him. All he does, and his whole answer is, it'll sell toys. It gets people in here. They'll sell. He is a businessman first. And the fact that in that thank you message they put there is like, oh, the original big fan. You don't give a fuck about this shit. Fuck you, man. I got mad. I think I yelled, fuck you, in the theater.
People were mad with Justice League and the Snyder Cut that they thanked that one crazy racist dude, like MAGA. Because he used to write for DC. He did a lot of Flash stuff.
Yeah, that fucking nutbag.
And he just rants on YouTube now. That's all he does. But they're contractually.
That's a real complaint. I'm just pissed off about greed.
Yeah, they're contractually obligated to thank them or credit them in some way. But if they were like overly complimentary, I can see why that would. Yeah,
I was just like, big thanks to Avi Arad, and I'm like, Avi wrote that himself. The whole fucking reason, like everything like fell apart was because of him. Fuck you, dude. Like, fucking Avi Arad.
True. Spider-Man has a sordid past, let's say.
Yeah.
So
3 reboots.
Yeah. So
I mean, Batman's getting his 4th.
Yeah, so true. So the movie starts, and I'm just like trying to remember what happened in the last one because like I don't remember us even talking about it. I'm like, it's fine.
I was happy that they did what they did at the beginning of this movie because I genuinely forgot how that whole shit went. I know that Mysterio died and he blamed Peter Parker.
Yeah, it was like his contingency.
But brilliant stroke, by the way. That was the only part where I was just like, Mysterio's actually a genius.
A good villainous move for sure.
Yeah, super good. But anyway, you were going.
Well, okay, so they're setting up that they're talking about Mysterio. They're talking about him being revealed, and everybody's like, so on it. You got the comedy. You've got like the conflict being set up. You've got the premise being set up. Some of the comedy. What do you want to say about the comedy?
Not the comedy.
Oh.
The fact that there was no repercussions. Like, he's a murder suspect and he's going to school and he's like, oh man, I can't get into college. Motherfucker, you should be going to jail. Like, oh man. But that was the big thing. It was just, I know that there's no concrete proof or anything, but there was never like any kind of trial. He was never put in a holding cell or anything like that. They let him go on his own thing and he just moves into Happy's penthouse. Then that side of the plot just disappears.
Because what are you going to do? We can't weigh ourselves down for too long of like, how are we going to prove he didn't do it?
It would really suck to have real world repercussions for one of these guys.
No. I agree. They could have made that movie. I'm just saying that's not this movie, but they had to keep going on where the last movie.
I know. It's just that with the way that ended, I thought that was going to be the movie, was him being an outlaw, trying to prove his innocence. But no, he doesn't get into MIT. You really applied to MIT thinking you were going to get in there, you dumb fuck. Like, Peter Parker is an idiot in this whole movie.
And that's where I was going to go with this. That's exactly where I'm heading, Josh. This movie, above all the other ones of the Tom Holland, are really, really want us to just suspend our disbelief and be like, he is an idiot child.
I get that.
They really, really wanted us to think he's an idiot. No, I didn't like it. I was like, he is doing some of the dumbest shit.
Well, and I liked that Doctor Strange's first response is like, you didn't even fucking talk to them?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
And he's like, get the fuck out of my house,
Exactly. So, but a lot of these problems, like I have so much to say with the philosophy of this movie. So they're asking us to remember he's a dumb idiot kid, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to make us forget that he's been part of some of these bigger, more adult storylines previously. He's a dumb kid. The Mysterio thing, we know he didn't actually kill Mysterio.
Yeah, we know he didn't, but it would have been cool to try to...
So they kind of steamrolled
watch the struggle.
Yeah, they steamrolled over that, and it was more like, I have troubles now that everybody knows who I am. And you've talked about this since Homecoming, where he doesn't seem overly concerned with family life and this and that. He just wants to be an Avenger. He just wants to be cool. He just wants to do this. He just wants to do that. Whatever.
He just wants to impress Tony.
Yes. And they realized that was an unsustainable way to do Spider-Man for the remainder of them wanting to make Spider-Man movies, which is forever.
But I feel like they realized it too late.
I agree. So that's why I find it bizarre. I don't know. I think what they did was fine, but the execution was weird.
Yeah.
Where they were like, all right, we're literally just going to flip the reset switch, and now he's real Spider-Man at the end of this movie, where before... he was just like I said in the first one. I'm going to be pulling up clips because like a lot of what they did in this was like me and you arguing and them trying to fix both of our complaints and both of our views. So on one hand, they're acknowledging what he's done, but they're getting rid of it, and he's going to be real Spider-Man after this. He's a struggling kid. He's this and that. He doesn't have a fancy suit. He made his own suit at the end of this, which I know was one of your biggest gripes.
Yeah, he was back to me. I mean, it was a little too shiny for my taste. I was like, yo, man, is that seriously just 70s Spider-Man running around in sequins?
So it was bizarre.
Whatever,
to me.
he made his own shit. Yeah. He made his own shit. And I think that he took a bit of inspiration for the look when he met the other two Spider-Man and was just like, you know what, there's a theme here. I kind of had an idea back in the day.
So the two of us talking about Homecoming and me being like, we've seen it before. We don't need to see it again, blah, 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 blah. And they're just trying to plug him into this. That was true. But if they want to keep making these movies, Spider-Man has to be Spider-Man. And I agreed with you, and I told you I was a little harsh after having listened back to it. Yeah. I was like, ooh, when I edited that, I was like, I was being kind of a dick. You were making good points. I'm sorry.
No, dude, no. And fucking water on the bridge.
And now of course. And now I'm like, yeah, they did realize some of these mistakes. And they realized it's not, with Tony gone and the Avengers not being a thing, they really need to give this Spider-Man an identity other than, other than I'm an Avenger.
Yeah.
And I'm the funny kid.
Yeah.
And
I'm the kid that got lucky.
But here's the thing.
Unquote.
I want to know how you feel about this. You know how they did that? By making him Spider-Man again, which is what I didn't want to see. I did not want to see Uncle Ben die again. I did not want to see him do this and that. And then they were just like, third movie, all the lessons of Spider-Man fucking shoved into one movie.
No, because it was stupid. I told you when we
well, Aunt May is even stupider than Peter is.
Oh, Aunt May's a fucking idiot. I told you I laughed at a very inappropriate moment. That was when I laughed very loudly.
When she said great power?
No. I looked at Dylan and was like, are they fucking serious? And then I was like, oh.
It's like watching Spock yell Khan. That's what they did.
And that was, I was like, are they really doing that? And he was just like, they got to get it in there. And I was like, no, they fucking don't.
And that's the problem. I don't think they do.
And that's why I was like, no, they fucking don't. Not in the third fucking movie.
No.
You know, and then like, no, it was when she died. And it was supposed to matter. And I laughed so fucking hard and so loud. And I was just like, really?
Now you care.
All of a sudden, Aunt May's supposed to be a person. She's been nothing but hot Aunt May the whole time. And all of a sudden, Green Goblin's going like, oh, she latched you onto her mission. I was like, what the fuck was her mission?
The whole movie, I thought she was acting completely out of character for what they made Aunt May in the last two movies.
No. She was much more Aunt May in this movie than she's ever been.
In the second one, she's working with them to like fundraise money and do this or that. She's dating Happy. It is what it is. And fucking, I always thought that it was fine, that it was just kind of like, it's a different Peter. You know, Uncle Ben just kind of died young. It wasn't a big event for him.
And that's the thing, too, is like, and then all of a sudden, carrying Uncle Ben's suitcase through the whole second film, never addressed, when his shit gets fucked up, he never freaks out about it.
Well, and then Toby and Andrew, Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2, or Spider-Man 2 and 3 were like, oh yeah, Uncle Ben, like they have more of a connection and he didn't have that. And like some of that was what they were telling, basically the story they were telling sort of was the reason this world, this MCU world that we're all used to is different than the worlds they come from is Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Tony Stark is the biggest difference.
Yes.
And like you were talking about him being a villain and all this, and Tony, like, I liked all of that, and I really liked that. It's like that's why his path was different. He didn't have the privilege of living their story, but they dealt with loss more than he did.
Yeah, because like Andrew talks about losing Gwen Stacy. Yeah. Toby talks about losing Uncle Ben. You know, and
he's like, I lost a guy that I
lost
kind of
liked. Dude
liked.
that used me as a weapon against other adults. You know?
Yeah, as much as they really try to sell that in Endgame, like that's basically just Robert Downey Jr.'s acting.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have played with Tom Holland trying to tell two other Spider-Men that have done
much
more.
You know
what I mean?
It was a whole thing. Like a part of a continent got dropped, and like Cap was like no, and then they were blaming Bucky, and Bucky was like no.
So that's why they needed to give him some emotional weight there at the end, but it didn't fucking work.
It didn't work because Aunt May has not mattered for the prior two films, and then all of a sudden she's supposed to super matter in this movie.
Talking to Osborn and just being like, you should really do the right thing. Bitch has never cared. She's like, you're Spider-Man. Let's use this to help my cause.
To help me. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, it's dangerous. Oh, Aunt May's going to care. They always talked about Aunt May caring, but no, she's just dating Happy while he's going and saving the universe.
Yeah, she didn't even care about Happy.
So
she dumped my boy.
I get why they wanted to reset it. And I'm just like, I get it. You need to reset it because where do you go with Spider-Man from here? He needs to actually be Spider-Man from here on out.
Well, that's what's so weird is you think he would have learned that lesson by now. If not, maybe not after Civil War, maybe not after Homecoming, but definitely after Infinity War and Endgame and everything, we should have seen him be less stupid, less irresponsible. Sure. Yeah, kids are going to fuck up, but...
I did like where he's like, well, I can fight crime in Boston. Yeah. They have crime there.
They have crime in Boston.
Did you hear what Ned said? He said, yeah, wicked crime.
Yeah, wicked crime. Jesus Christ. But
that's another thing, Ned, in the magic bit. Well, funny.
I'm glad that we erased everybody's memory so he doesn't remember that. Also, the erasing doesn't make any fucking sense.
Hey, you know what they should have done? Erased Thanos' memory of wanting to wipe out half of the universe.
Then everyone would have forgotten who Thanos was.
Or forgot that the Infinity Stones existed.
Yeah.
That would have been useful. But don't get wrapped up in that. That's like people being mad about the Holdo maneuver.
Oh God.
It's like, come on, it's a one-time thing.
No, it's a stupid fucking nitpick, but I was just like, wait a minute, forgetting that Peter Parker is Spider-Man doesn't mean that you forget who Peter Parker is. You just forget that the two of them are the same person.
Yes, but that's why at the end, to fix it, he said, just everybody forget who I am.
Oh, that's a bit of dialogue that I missed.
No. Okay, at the end, he says, how about you just have everybody forget who Peter Parker is? And he's like, that's a bad idea. Yeah. It's like, see you later. Like, not going to remember you.
That was honestly more heartbreaking to me than anything else, was watching Steven being like, it was a pleasure knowing you. You know, like that was...
So people still knew who Spider-Man was. They just didn't know who Peter Parker was.
Yeah.
And that's why at the end where him and Happy were talking about, how did you know her? Oh, I knew her through Spider-Man.
Yeah, thank you.
So at that point, nobody knows who Spider-Man's secret identity is.
Yeah, thank you for that, dude. I literally missed that entire fucking
there you go. That changes quite a bit.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, dude. And then, like, for building up that all the villains were going to be there, dude, it smacked of fan service nostalgia so much because they get them and then they put them in these perfectly sealed sail so that they can't get hurt and we can just maintain the image of them. And I love that Green Goblin's mental disability can be cured by stabbing him in the neck with magic medicine. Like, that was his problem, was that he had a personality disorder.
And that's what I mean about, well, of course, they have dialogue with Toby being like, I thought about it for a long time, how I would have made it different. Yeah. Okay, I get it. But that's also my problem, is I was like, all the lessons that they wanted to... Tom Holland's Spider-Man had to learn every fucking lesson of every Spider-Man in one movie's time. Yeah. And I liked a lot of it, and I thought it was a good route for them to go, but I didn't like the execution of any of it.
No.
That's where I'm at on it.
I think the thing that bothered me, it didn't bother me.
That's what I mean. It's a bizarre, I don't know how to feel about a lot of it. It's a bizarre movie.
I liked that they each, in their own way, got to solve one of their biggest problems. Like when Peter's gonna fucking kill Goblin, and Toby stops him from using the fucking the
glider.
The glider.
He was impaled by the glider.
He was impaled by his own. You didn't tell me this fucking 3 years ago.
You didn't tell me this before I tried to blow up my best friend. You fucking ass.
Yeah, dude.
Spider-Man 3, gotta love it.
Oh god, terrible fucking movie. I liked Old Man Toby. Old Man Peter. Man Peter in this was good.
You got your suit, or are you going to go as the hip youth pastor?
God damn it.
That is what he looks like.
That was the only joke that made me laugh in the entire film.
Come on, their banter was good.
Funny. Oh, no. When all three of the Spider-Men were together, that was when it got good.
They were making me feel bad. The fact that they had my boy, he showed up. He was a good sport, shows up for this movie.
He was incredible.
To talk about how he's the lame one. And I was like, that breaks my heart because I hate those fucking movies. But he was good.
Oh, yeah, no. And that's the thing that, like, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are such better actors than Tom Holland. And the brief amount of time that the two of them are in there, that I told my buddy when we left, I told him, I was like, I liked it. He was like, do you like it? And I said, no. And then he's just like, all of it? And I was like, I liked the end. And I think he thought I meant, the joke of like the credits, Yeah. That's not what I meant. I meant once Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield got there, the movie just shot up in my book.
Absolutely.
They were so good. And like, I love Old Man Peter because he's just quiet and reserved. I don't think that Peter quips at all.
No, he doesn't
anymore. And I think that,
if anything, he's super sincere when he's talking to Otto and he's like trying to do better.
Oh yeah, trying to do better, man.
That's the only one that really, because like,
that one got me.
I feel like those movies have been memed for so long that it was hard for me to feel sentimental about those movies.
No, and I liked that because Otto was a genuinely good person. Otto's always been a good dude. He's just been arrogant and fucking paranoid.
It's been I have 2 questions for you. Hopefully you're able to answer these.
I might be able to answer.
It's been a long time since I've seen the original trilogy, okay?
The original Spider-Mans?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
we got to parse original trilogy.
I know. I'm sorry. The Sam Raimi trilogy.
Yeah.
The second one I've seen the least amount of times, even though it's the best.
Sucks.
Even though it's the best one,
the second one's really good.
I don't know why. The explanation of that are the tentacles sentient? Because they're like, instead of him controlling them, they're controlling him. And I was like, that's stupid.
I think they had a degree of artificial intelligence because they're so long and everything. I think it's talked that they like at the head of each, there's like a micro brain or something like that.
Perfect. Done. Whatever.
I think it was something like that. And then he got struck by lightning or something like that. And it fused them together and they ended up taking over his body.
Perfect. Done.
If I remember right, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I've seen it a bunch.
Perfect. So done. Solved. Done. Green Goblin, I have a bigger gripe with. Was he not just a guy on a glider in a suit? He was fucking pile driving Peter through balconies and shit.
He had a degree of super strength, but I always thought it was because of the suit.
Yeah,
because
that's what I thought
outside
too.
of the suit, I think they had one confrontation in the movie outside of the suit, and I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. But that's like an exosuit. It's like power armor.
That's what
basically.
I thought. Yeah, it's his Power Ranger armor.
Well, yes.
And to be fair, he still had the suit on underneath those
I love what
clothes.
they did with that, where he's got the busted up hoodie and everything. I was just like, no. We need more of that.
They show
mask,
them,
but he's got the big Willem Dafoe smile. We're like, Willem Dafoe's weird looking enough.
And they did. Well, I was going to say, and they did the thing that they did in the original movie, where it was fake teeth when he's normal and his real teeth when he's a psychopath.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, says a lot about Willem Dafoe, but
poor guy. Honestly, I would love to see an old man Joker played by Willem Dafoe. I would really love that. Just he's such a good actor.
Well, you answered both of those questions because in my mind I was like, was it? But and to be fair, he had the suit on underneath those sweatpants. He just didn't have the mask
anymore because he thought because the mask was the big thing in the original because he would always talk to the mask. Yeah. So he smashed the mask, so that makes sense that Norman would. And Norman is a much more sympathetic character in the movies than he is in the fucking comics. He's a piece of shit.
And I love that they made him just a real piece of shit. Oh yeah, I know they cured him, but he really was the one who just blew it all into shit.
Yeah. No, Goblin is a great villain. I love Norman Osborn.
Let's talk about Jamie Foxx if we can.
Yeah, I love that he stopped being Electro and just became Jamie Foxx, the guy who plays Electro.
This is what I have been saying about Jamie Foxx. If you go back and listen to me talking about Baby Driver.
Yeah. No,
Jamie Foxx
came to mind.
Just fucking plays Jamie Foxx, and that's why I don't like him.
Yeah.
So it's very funny to me that he was the worst part of that movie.
Oh, he was terrible.
And their solution, instead of just like, not getting him, was to just have him be Jamie Foxx and not the bumbling weirdo. And he looked normal and all that. And they
even address it in the movie. It was like, I like how I look.
I like how I am in this world.
Yeah.
That being said, it was he
looked
fact
dope
when he was doing his electric stuff and it would put the star phase
helmet. Yeah, he'd get the lightning bolt helmet on and shit. That was dope.
I was like, that's cool. But Jamie Foxx, go fuck yourself. Man.
I thought that bringing back I think he's Rhys Davies. I think is his name. Guy who played the Lizard.
I was just like, whatever.
The fact that but I think that they could have given the Lizard more time because the Lizard is a better character. So I like the Lizard more than I like Electro. Electro's just a dick.
Some of the comedy that works too is they're just like, what happened to you? I fell in a vat of eels. I fell in a super collider. You gotta watch where you fall, man. And there's like, let me guess, it's another fucking scientist that did some shit. And like the fact that they're talking about his villains having a pattern. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, the only one that wasn't a scientist was Sandman because he fucking did hit at the wrong spot at the wrong time.
Yep.
I wanted a little bit more with Sandman because I as bad as Sandman 3 was, I did like Sandman in that movie.
As bad as Spider-Man 3 was.
Did I say Sandman 3? I was gonna catch it. I was gonna catch it, and you got me before I could. Yeah, no. As bad as Spider-Man 3 is, I did like Sandman. I've always liked Sandman as a villain. He's cool.
Yeah. And I liked in this one that he wasn't really
just
a villain.
Collar.
He wasn't really a villain.
He's just a thief.
And he was over it, and he was just like, I just want to go home, man.
Yeah, that's all he wanted to do. Yeah, I liked that.
I'm working with them because you got to send us home.
Yeah. Well, and that was where the Cures also kind of made me laugh. Where like Otto, yeah, you can fix Otto. Sandman, you can fix Sandman. Yep. Lizard, you can fix Lizard. Fucking injecting Green Goblin with a bunch of green goo is not going to do anything. That guy needs therapy and supervision.
Green Goblin had
Electro is still a dick.
Green Goblin Green Goblin needed to off him. He needed to die, but it had to be by like his own.
Yeah,
it needed to go the same.
Norman
way.
had to make a choice.
It had to be that like Toby was gonna stop Tom from doing it, but something
maybe Norman has like a last minute.
Yeah, but something was gonna happen because, dude, Toby is so old and all those things are so far in the past, and it kind of shaped who he was.
Yeah.
Norman just being alive again in that reality.
He's always going to have that resentment.
Is like not going to work.
No.
Where it's like the other younger ones, even though I know Andrew Garfield's pretty fucking old now, but he was too old to play
He was
then.
30, I think.
Yeah, he was too old
28,
to play
29, something like that. Yeah, and so was Toby when Toby started playing him. Yeah, he was like 27, I think, when he was doing it.
But you know, their villains were kind of just tragic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where when it came to Norman, the Green Goblin kind of sucks. You know,
he's just a dick.
So that, outside of that being said, fixing the other guys because it's just like it was just a bad situation. They should have let Norman go.
They really should have.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Electro just not having electric powers. I'm like, that guy's going to find a way to get his powers back. He's way too addicted to how good it feels to be Electro.
Or he's going to look like Jamie Foxx when he goes back.
I like to think that he doesn't.
Right.
He's got those shitty fake, he's got those shitty fake buck teeth and that weird hair.
Or Spider-Man becomes friends with him, even though he's disappointed he's not black.
I think that was a nice call out to Miles.
Yeah, it was.
But and then God, when Andrew Garfield catches MJ and just how sad he is and how worried he is about her, like that was another thing. I was like, where they got to mirror their big mistakes, and he catches her, and he's, "Are you okay?" And he's crying, like I was just,
I can't believe how much that got me. Yeah, dude, that one. That's what I'm saying. I can't believe that Andrew Garfield was the one that gave me the most feels and nostalgia.
Yeah, like movie. Tom Holland was kind of like whatever. But Andrew Garfield is the one that got me the most, and seeing Tobey again was just
cool.
Like, I didn't like Tobey Maguire at all as Peter Parker. I really didn't.
I like that they talk about their differences, though.
That was really cool. How, like, you just secrete that, and then the fact that Andrew can't let it go, and is like, so do you just like consciously do it? Do you ever, and he's just like, no, man, I don't know how it works. Like, how do you breathe, man? And he's just like, oh yeah, wow. And he's like, I did have a web block though. Them talking about their difficulties, especially the two older ones, I was just like, this is cool. They've had real trubs,
And there's nothing stopping them now from like making another Tobey Maguire Spider-Man
I would love to see an old man Peter Parker out there doing his thing. I mean, and I keep saying old man. He's not much older than me. But like, he's like 10 years old.
I was going to say he's at least 8 years older than you.
Jesus Christ. I didn't even think about that. Wow.
He's damn near 50 years old. If he's not 50 already.
God, dude, I'm fucking old.
Yeah. Whoops.
Oh man, we got to end the podcast here. The reality of my mortality has just set in, and I want to go cry in the shower. No, just like just I'm gonna say it again. Fine, old man Peter Parker, just Toby out there doing his thing, and dude, the two of them fixing each other's backs, that fucking got me. It's just like, that's cool, man. Oh no, you're right here, right? Yeah, it's right. Okay, want me to crack your back?
It was so good, and them like not knowing how to work as a team. Like Tom, I did like that Tom was the only one who knew how to work as a team. That was
cool. Where like I said, once the two of them show up, the movie just rockets up in my book. I didn't give a fuck about May. I cared about those two showing up, and it happened so late in the movie. I thought we were going to get them much earlier.
So did I.
I like that Andrew's the first one they grabbed too.
So, yeah, same. So did I, and that's what I mean by like it's so I didn't like the execution. I like what they were doing.
Yeah.
When Aunt May, I was getting angry. When Aunt May was saying these dumb things and Peter had all these dumb fucking ideas, and him fighting Doctor Strange was fun. But that
was really cool. And I liked the geometry that he used.
Yeah, but what it implied and like the dumb decision making he was doing,
Strange was right the entire time.
Angering me. Because I'm like, you can't, bro. Like, with
he
what
told
you've been
told
through,
him already. We've already tried this.
I was gonna say, with what you've been through, you should know this is a terrible idea.
Yeah, the whole time.
Yeah, and it's not. Normally, I don't get worked up about fictional characters' decisions. That's part of the ride of watching a linear narrative. But
when it's when it keeps happening through the whole thing, you're like, you are a fucking moron. And I know everybody.
MJ and Ned were better decision makers than he was.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and I think that again addresses one of my earlier issues where the supporting cast needs to matter, and they were trying to be the voice of logic and reason to him. And I get that that's the struggle of the whole movie, and that he's a kid and he makes dumb decisions. And I know somebody's going to yell at me about this.
But it hinged so much on it more than usual.
He never once entertained the thought that someone other than him had a good idea, and that's not Peter Parker. Peter Parker leans on his people.
And that's what I mean by the end of the movie, though, he's learned a lot of lessons and blah, blah, blah. So like, he sees MJ, she's been hurt, decides not to do his speech. Wow, he cares about other people and respecting his secret identity and blah, 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 blah.
That dude, like I said, the end of this movie was so fucking good. And it's like, and that's why I don't know how to tell you how I feel about the movie. That's why I really wanted to talk to you about it, because I'm like, dude, they're really fixing a lot of these issues, but was the poor execution worth the outcome? No.
Okay.
No. The ride to get to the good was not really worth it, but there are moments that really shine early in the movie too.
Yeah, and I don't want to go on the cycle that I feel like I've been on. The next one's going to be so good. The next one's going to be so good. The next one's going to be so good. Go back and listen to us talking about No Way Home.
Yeah.
I'm sure, or not No Way Home.
Homecoming.
No, Far From Home.
Far From Home.
I'm sure I said, wow, I'm really excited for the next one. J. Jonah Jameson's going to be here. It's going to be more like
J. Jonah Jameson matters.
It's going to, it's going to be more like a regular Spider-Man movie. And guess what? That's what I want to say about the next one. But I don't want to be on that cycle.
See, but I really think that you're going to be right this time, because I really think you're going to be right.
I think you're right too.
I think you're going to be right, because like J. Jonah does exist now. He's completely alone.
Dude, you want to talk about fan service?
Are they using the same apartment set that they used in 2 and 3?
It looked like it.
Because it looked exactly like his shitty little one room.
Yeah, I'm expecting where's my rent?
Yeah, God. That would be cool.
I can't believe we haven't talked about this yet. Josh, I will pull up the clip. I guarantee you it's coming in here. Josh, 100%. Sony owes us money.
Oh yeah, no, I would love to see J. Jonah become a kind of like you were talking about the YouTube generation and everything. A fucking, who's that guy?
Okay.
You know who I'm talking about, right?
God, I just wonder.
Whole fucking like, they're making the frogs gay guy.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah. To do a conspiracy theorist, that's true. I
think that would be hysterical.
I don't know if Alex Jones is bigger on YouTube or bigger on. He's like broadcast on TV.
He's broadcast on TV, yeah.
Okay. Being Alex Jones would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, or like somebody like a Rush Limbaugh.
I say us because we both own the podcast. Somebody owes us money. Josh said, I asked him what you do with J. Jonah Jameson, and he said,
oh, yeah.
You make him Alex Jones.
You make him Alex Jones, and he is Alex Jones.
And he's just 100% an Alex Jones joke. That's all he is. He's selling supplements.
Mm-hmm. It's Oh, yeah. No, he's like Alex Jones and Joe Rogan in the same fucking person.
100%. It's not even without debate. It was a joke about Alex Jones.
Uh-huh.
But guess what? He was only fan service. He had no reason to be there.
No,
he had a phone call with he was there to facilitate.
The Skype call was really cool,
Yeah.
but at the same time, yeah, J. Jonah didn't do as much as I wanted. I wanted him out there actively smearing him. Like I mean, and we get a bit of it, but I needed more. Like the hate that this guy has for him. Like he's always just like, I've always said it. And I'm like, you said it in the last 10 seconds of the last movie. What do you mean you've always said it? You know, you don't know shit about Spider-Man, you fuck.
Maybe it's just the time. That's when he blew up. But the problem is like Alex Jones also isn't on fucking big screens in the middle of Times Square. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, but I feel like because Alex Jones has never had anything right.
Sure.
He's talking about lizard people.
No, it's funny. Yeah,
which remains to be proven.
Yeah, right. So it's just him conspiracy theory spewing and just hates the liberal elite.
Yeah.
It was a funny joke, but like you got why am I forgetting his name now? The actor.
J.K. Simmons.
You got J.K. Simmons back. Everybody was so excited. The tease at the end of the last one. What did you do with him? You did the great Alex Jones joke that you owe us money for. I'll play the clip a second time. You did the joke, but now do something. Don't waste that opportunity. They had 2 Spider-Men there that know about J. Jonah.
That know J. Jonah.
And they didn't even
Wait. Well, J. Jonah wasn't in Amazing Spider-Man, was he?
He was. I'm talking about Tom Holland and
Oh,
Toby.
and yes.
Same.
Yes.
It's the same
No,
J. Jonah.
I mean, I'm just remembering
he
right
wasn't.
now. That,
I don't
wow,
think he
J.
wasn't
Jonah.
in
We
it.
never got to J. Jonah.
Because he had just graduated high school.
He was graduating
in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Speaking of graduations, the snap happened 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
How?
No, it was just lucky that all of his classmates all managed to get snapped as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
That was part of the second one.
That's right.
Speaking of which, we're not...
Because I was trying to figure out the timeline again where I was just like, wait a minute, it's 5 years ago, but they're all graduating together? And I was like...
But remember, there was the one guy who was like after MJ who was older because he didn't get blipped.
Because he didn't get snapped. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Don't say blip. I'm refused.
I don't know what else to say. They didn't think of a better name. They all keep
I call it
saying
the snap.
Speaking of which, we're not talking about this until next podcast, but in Far From Home, they did it as a joking, everybody just kind of pops back into existence in other people's apartments. Hawkeye had the best representation of coming back from the snap.
Yes.
It was so fucking cool.
That was incredible, where no time passed at all.
Yeah, no time passed, but everything just is changing, and they did that effect for changing thing. It was so
like
good.
She goes away and then comes back. Like it was the same Ash and then Ash back. Yeah, that was dope.
It was super cool.
That was fucking sick.
Anyway,
but I want to see the hard R Marvel movie where people are just falling out of the sky because they're not in that airplane.
They're not in the airplane anymore. maybe Tony had that in his brain. He's like, unless they're in an unsafe location, then put them in the closest, safest location.
3 feet off the ground. Light bruising only. No, and I love the closing bit where he's just in that apartment by himself, and then he realizes that he's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And then you see him with the sewing and everything, and I like that they tease that earlier on with the sewing machine and the fabric lying around and stuff like that. And then at the end of the movie, you see that he's made his own uniform. It's a little shiny for my fucking tastes, but he made his own shit, dude, and he's out there doing his own thing, and that makes me excited. Because now we've got J. Jonah, we've got Peter in his own costume. But
I said this the last time.
Yeah.
I get it.
I feel like we're going to... He has lost too much now to keep being an annoying little shit.
I agree.
He can be...
Now nobody remembers
because Peter is an annoying guy. Peter is a very annoying guy. But he's only really annoying when he's in costume because he never shuts the fuck up. All in all, it's Into the Spider-Verse light.
Yes. And it's just trying to tug at some heartstrings.
It's trying to tug at some heartstrings, and I feel like in certain areas it successfully does that.
Big time.
But I don't know if I felt my heartstrings pulled in the moments that they that they thought they would be.
If anything, it was a mistake to bring in these other two actors because it just showed how little attachment I had to this character by himself.
Yeah.
With Tom Holland. Like,
yeah.
Quipping with it. MJ kind of him being the second one, him being with MJ most of the time really helped because she's a good character.
MJ's great. Zendaya is a really good actress. I liked her in Dune. I've liked her a lot in these Spider-Man movies. In the first two, she was one of the ones that consistently made me laugh. Maybe it's because her character has the same sense of humor I do.
Yeah, she's sarcastic shit.
Yeah. Fuck you. But and Ned in this one. I was glad that Ned, that part where he's just like, I will never try to kill you. When he asks Toby, did you have a best friend? Yeah. He died.
In my arms. Yeah.
In my arms. Right after he tried to kill me.
That brings me to an interesting point. Let's talk about the mid-credit scene. I was initially terrified.
The mid-credits. What was it?
They had Tom Hardy as Venom, and I was like, no. No. These things do not happen in the same universe. That is, I will not accept this. As pumped I am to see Danny Rojas. I don't get Danny, the guy who was talking to plays a character in Ted Lasso.
Yeah. Okay. I was like,
yeah. Okay. Football is life, but football is also death. So, and then he zipped away, and I was like, oh, thank God. And just the symbiote. Hang on, no, the symbiote. I have to pronounce it correctly.
We're not doing that here.
The symbiote is still there, and I was like, okay, we're getting Venom, but it's not that Venom. Thank God.
I have one big fear.
Okay.
Flash Thompson.
No,
in the comics,
they would never.
In the comics, became was a war veteran who got crippled, lost his legs. They, in an attempt to recreate a super soldier again, they gave him the symbiote. He became Agent Venom. They better not fucking do that in these movies because
he doesn't know who Peter Parker is anymore, so it doesn't really matter. There's no need to have him have any relevance anymore.
Totally forgot. Yeah, so we're gonna get whatever version of Eddie Brock we get.
Hopefully it's just fucking Danny Rojas. I mean, he's there. No, it won't be. But
no, it won't be. We'll somehow get him attached to Eddie Brock, probably.
Yeah.
And then maybe they'll recast Flash Thompson.
But are they going to have the same voice? Is it going to have the same? Because there's
hope not.
There's anti-hero Venom, and then there's the Spider-Man villain.
There's
Venom.
villain Venom.
So I'm glad they're separating those two with a hard line there.
Yeah.
Because I saw it started happening, and I was like, it's funny as
no.
As funny as their like banter was of like, this world's crazy, and I'm I was so worried. I was like, that means Morbius is part of this too. Fuck.
Morbius it does know.
I'm like,
Brock.
They ditched the MCU because we all forget about him, and he joins this shit show. No, I was so, but I'm like, that's the only thing that kind of pisses me off for the next one is I'm like, are we getting Venom? Really?
I know. I'd really rather not go down to. I mean, it's been Aviarad's dream, and he is the OG fan.
The OG fan.
Fucking fuck.
And then the very end credit scene was literally just a teaser trailer for
Doctor Strange,
Multiverse of Madness. Yeah.
And dude,
it looks cool,
dude. But see, the trailer for the first Doctor Strange got me. We're like, yo, this shit's gonna be fucked up. And this one, but this one, like, I'm like, oh, dude, did you catch him? Evil Doctor Strange.
I did.
I was like, oh, the best episode of What If.
Yep. I saw that.
I wonder if he's or is it going to be a nightmare sequence like fucking Sith Ray?
Right. Yeah, who knows? I'm glad to see the actual bad guy from it was there, correct? Right? I don't know.
This is always so funny to me.
I don't know who the bad guy.
Mads Mikkelsen was the actual.
No, but who was the second bad guy?
He wasn't the bad guy. He was his buddy. You're talking about
but he leaves and he's like, I'm bad now.
Yeah. He's just like, Magic's fucked up, and he fucks off. Yeah, no, they led into him being the villain. Okay. And I think that he's either going to be the villain in this one.
I think they showed a shot of it.
Or not necessarily the villain, but like the guy who's trying to police everything.
Here's a question. How do you feel about all this time we've been seeing Wong show up over and over again? I'm like, it's weird that we're seeing Wong instead of Doctor Strange. It's because he's the Sorcerer Supreme.
No, because Wong doesn't take it seriously. That's why he keeps fucking off and doing whatever he wants to, dude. Because he's just Carnage. Like, no, he's legit. Yeah, he's fighting Abomination out there. Yeah, no, dude. Wong doesn't give a shit. He knows that Steven's the real one. He didn't want to be the Sorcerer Supreme. He's just, I thought that was hilarious. Got it on technicality. I was gone for 5 years.
Yeah.
It's just like, is that really how it works in the fucking magical order? It's just like, well, you kind of hung out with him a lot, so yeah, let's get his butler to be.
They packed a lot into this movie. It was a lot to take care of.
Too much into this movie. Yeah. That's why it's as long as it is too, because it's another long one.
It is. I think it's a crowd pleaser of a movie.
I think it's a very crowd pleasing movie. Like I said before we were,
and it didn't irritate me.
Like I said before I was on mic, before we were on mic, I was like, it's steeped in nostalgia. It's a Marvel movie. It's a Spider-Man Marvel movie. It's 3 for 3. Everybody's gonna go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You're talking about not using J.K. Simmons enough. I'm pissed off that Alfred Molina barely gets used. That guy is an incredible actor, and he's barely in the fucking movie.
True.
I really thought we were going to get more of a throwdown.
So did I.
And it really didn't seem to really matter all that much. Like, I don't know. The movie has so many different...
That's some like conflicting you said, ideas. They had a lot
It's so jam-packed. Yeah. It's like there's so much... You got the Mysterio bit that gets shoved aside, and then you got the supervillain bit, and that seems to be the main driving. Then you got Doctor Strange and Peter, and then we skip to the supervillains and Peter, and then gets
it's Peter's
aside.
Broken, he's down and out. Then we bring in 2 more Spider-Men to help him
and then we
back
go
up.
back to the supervillain.
Back
plot.
to the supervillains.
Yeah.
Back to personal struggles. Back to now Venom's coming. Like it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot in one
It's
movie.
a lot, dude. But the way it ended is amazing. I love the way it ends. I don't enjoy the ride.
It's weird. As I was watching it, I was like, this has been going on for a while.
That was at one point.
And I'm like, where are the Spider-Men? I know they're coming. They're not faking me out on this. I know they're going to be here.
I feel kind of bad saying this but I'm a notorious Spider-Man curmudgeon, but I was like, I'm only here for 2 reasons, and they are still not here.
See, I wasn't there only for that. However, like I said, my biggest gripe is that Aunt May and Peter were acting like idiots.
Yeah.
So I was like, somebody needs to come in here and knock some sense into this movie because it's driving me nuts. I was so pumped when MJ was just like, I'm pressing the fucking button. I'm pressing the button.
Oh, dude, that was hilarious. She's like, I'm just going to press the button. And Ned's like, no.
Don't do it. And she's like, no, I'm pressing the button.
The scenes with Ned and with just Ned and just MJ are great.
Yeah. And I like that they were still friends even after Peter was gone.
I loved that. Yeah. Like, they still went to school together. They were still friends. They just don't know Peter Parker.
Yeah.
It's great. And I do like the little touches they have where they show that Peter is actually a scientific genius. Like, he's got the geometry thing, and he knows what to do with each of the monsters, the supervillains. You know, and he's not a complete buffoon. And it's the first time I think that they've actually, instead of just building with the Lego set your uncle bought you, he's out there like using his brain to overcome some of these obstacles that he's going through. And I think that's great. He's an idiot for the whole fucking movie, but he does have some kind of knowledge.
Again, and it wouldn't have pissed me off as much because, again, I'm like, he's an idiot. He's a kid. He's trying to do the right thing. The fact that it pissed me off that, like, Aunt May's, like, guilt-tripping him into doing it. And I'm like, you haven't cared about her, and she hasn't cared about you for 2 movies, man.
No.
Fuck off with this Aunt May shit.
Yeah.
And I was telling you, I don't want to see Uncle Ben die again. I don't want to do it. When we're talking about Homecoming and the fact that they fucking threw it into this movie, they were trying to piss me. Like, I'm the biggest defender of this Spider-Man. Yeah. And they kind of
and then they went and did
were
everything.
Some of the worst parts.
No, when all that was happening, I was just like, we already did Uncle Ben. His name was Tony Stark in this movie.
Yeah.
And now we're doing Uncle Ben, but
it's Aunt May.
Yeah. I was like, little late in the game for this one.
Yeah.
I feel like they thought they were building up to that moment through the movies, and they weren't.
They weren't. You had the gripe in the last one about the Stark tech and all that shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I agree, but that's just what they're doing in place of Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
I get it. And then all of a sudden they're like, instead of just moving past that, they're like, how about we move past it and do Spider-Man origin again?
Yeah.
Why? We don't need this.
We definitely don't need it at this point.
I liked that he put on the suit and it was like the Stark network is down and like all of the stuff he had grown. I was like, yes, we're moving on past this. There are bits that are awesome. There are bits that are just fucking stupid. And then there are amazing bits. It is a uneven movie. I think it's an enjoyable watch almost all the way through because there's at least enough levity with some of the comedy, some of the callbacks, because none of them really pissed me off. Hearing Norman say that he's something of a scientist himself, I was into it. Sorry.
Bitching about fan service.
Right.
One line from a movie, and he's just like, greatest movie ever.
Greatest movie ever. I think, like you said, you love the end and all this. I think overall, I think it's a good, enjoyable movie. I just find it bizarre and poorly executed on a good idea.
I'm going to say that, I know I said it about Far From Home as well, but overall, I liked this one the most.
Okay.
I didn't like this one the least.
Okay.
I
get what you're saying.
I like this one more than the other two. I was just like, all right, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, man. No arguments here, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like the fact that this has had time to mature, it's not the introduction of it where me and you were just head to head, whether Spider-Man's back and good or he's back and bad, you know? Now it's like it's way more nuanced than that at this point. There's not a lot of very big arguments to have. We tip, and I hate that this has been the theme lately. We agree while maybe coming out with a different outcome.
It seems like, we always end up on this different side of the same coin where it's just like, we agree, but we disagree.
Yeah. On this one, I think we agree a lot more, where I'm like, some of your earlier arguments are coming back to rear their head in ways I do not like.
Yeah. He was right. God damn it.
Right.
No, dude. And it's like, I feel unfortunate that a lot of those came up again, and I was like, oh, so what? Now you're trying to fix it again? I saw fucking Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
Dude, okay.
It didn't go anywhere near that level.
I was going to say, whoa. Wait. I'm being comedic. That's a joke. No one's trying to fix internet problems here.
No.
They're just addressing
a longevity with telling a Spider-Man story problem.
Exactly. No, and I know Tom Holland's come out whining and crying that he doesn't want to be Peter Parker at 30.
Sure.
And I'm like,
that's
why'd you take the fucking job, dude?
Yeah, but that's some of the fun that we've never got to see until this movie of watching an older Spider-Man.
Well, see, and I was just going to say, like, we got Peter Parker in high school in the first Spider-Man movie, and then he was just an adult in the next two films.
Yeah.
And I would I will praise these movies for giving me a Spider-Man journey from a dipshit teenager to a dipshit teenager to an even stupider fucking teenager to immediately an adult.
Yeah.
And I
want
spent
some time
to
back there,
see the repercussions of Peter dealing with a world where everyone knows his alter ego, but nobody knows who he is, including his loved ones. Does he have to try to earn that love back, or does he move on with his life? And we get like Betty Brant and, we already have Betty Brant.
I was going to say, Betty Brant's already there.
Betty Brant, the secretary at the Daily Bugle that was older than him.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Or did we go on to Gwen Stacy and, some of his other chicks and stuff? Do we get this universe's version of Green Goblin?
Yeah. I think it was weird that Andrew Garfield and Toby didn't go like, oh, there's a guy just like this in my world, except for it was his son who was my friend too, but not my best friend like you was your best friend. I think they kind of slowly were like, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man doesn't care about Green Goblin.
No.
That's more of a Toby thing.
No.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Don't remember that. Well, all we remember is Gwen Stacy died. I don't know who killed her. She just died.
She died. And Electro, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, watching. Yeah, you already talked about it. Watching him save MJ was very rewarding.
Dude, that fucking got me, dude. Just like I said, dude. Like the two of them are just better actors than Tom Holland, and just probably because he's so young. I don't know,
true.
You
Who
know?
knows?
But I don't want to be a dick.
Yeah,
and be like, Tom Holland's a terrible.
He's
actor.
starting to work less and less for me. But at the end of that movie, I was kind of like, maybe,
Yeah,
you're on trial.
I
here.
think
but,
the fact
but
that
who
he
are they going to
continue-
bring in? Do you think? And obviously, we're getting Venom, but like, what important side characters do you think they're going to bring in? Obviously, not MJ, Gwen Stacy. Who do you think they're going to bring in? Or is he going to try to go work for Jay Jonah and try to clear his name, his alter ego's name?
Well,
how do you go work for Alex Jones?
Given some other cameos that happened that I will not address.
Okay.
There are employees of the Daily Bugle that they could bring in.
Okay.
That would expand because he's going to need it now. That will expand upon his supporting cast. Eddie Brock, of course, would be interesting. Like they both work for Bugle, maybe. But they're not doing photography. They're doing like Nightcrawler kind of shit.
Sure.
Where, guerrilla journalism kind of thing.
Yeah. They're social media. Whatever.
Trying to get fucking.
They're trying to
footage or some
sell shit.
Yeah.
Same deal, but not photography.
Exactly.
Actually,
we could get Ben Urich. We could get oh god, I can't remember his name, but he's like Jay Jonah's assistant, and I can't remember his fucking name, but he's like pro Spider-Man, but like Jay Jonah pays the best, so he's stuck in the job. But a lot of the good press that comes out about Spider-Man in the Bugle has to do with his interference. We could get Gwen Stacy. Betty Bryant could end up with him at some point because she doesn't fucking remember him. But she's already a journalist. She could end up at the Bugle, and the two of them end up together. Who fucking else? We could get Madam Web. That would be interesting because we've already touched on the multiverse. Ariana might be cool.
Do you think
Ben Reilly would be amazing if we got fucking the Jackal? That would be interesting.
Do you think that whole contract
Silver
dispute
Sable.
between Marvel, Disney, and Sony that they finally settled? Do you think it was?
I feel like
do you think it was to
this-
finally separate Spider-Man from the MCU? So we're not going to see anybody from that side anymore.
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I feel like this was the perfect amalgamation of it, where it's just like bygones are bygones with this one, where we're marrying the two, we're saying goodbye to the other two, and we're moving forward with this one.
Okay,
that's how I feel. But like you said, I would love to see because I'm very interested to see a more vigilante, brutal fucking Spider-Man, which is very heavily hinted at with Andrew Garfield's character. And I would love to see just Tobey Maguire out there for one last ride. That would be really cool. Maybe he's fucking, I don't know, fighting the Shocker because we never saw Shocker in that one.
True.
But no, there's a bunch of characters you could pull from that. Fucking, oh God, if that fucking Stiltman. Fuck it.
Stiltman, do it.
Stiltman, Great Gargoyle.
Stiltman, do it. You won't.
So many cool characters that they could pull in. Do it, you won't.
Do it, you won't. Oh man.
No, there's a bunch of and I mean it's not like fucking, and I do hope that we don't go back to MJ, because MJ over the years has become his penultimate, like his ultimate girlfriend, and it's just like, yeah, they were married, they got divorced, but like even in the comics, I think they got divorced and they've never gotten back together as far as I know. There was and
I feel like it should be Toby's thing. The fact that like he's talking about that they're making it work. Yeah. And it's just kind of like, yeah, I feel like he should probably just move on from his high school fling. But
yeah. No, that would be really interesting to see him for them to explore the other romantic involvements that Peter's had over the years. Yeah. By bringing a Gwen, Mm-hmm. Betty Bryant again. There's another one that I'm trying. Betty Brant. Is it Betty Brant? Is it Betty Brant?
Yeah, I think it's Betty Brant. She's just like, I love Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He goes to this school. And I'm trying to forget who. I'm trying to remember who she. Nice Guys. That's right. I was like,
his daughter. Yeah.
And she's in that terrible movie. I think I talked about on one of the podcasts
God, where she's reincarnated. Or
no,
takes over other
her boyfriend
bodies.
is just like in other people's bodies every day.
Right, yeah.
I was just like, she is sleeping around. Yeah. That was a weird fucking movie.
It's a weird fucking movie. Some of the fucking scientists that he worked with, I would love for him to fucking intern with Reed for a bit. That would be really cool.
That might be where they want to go with it.
That would be he was on the Fantastic Four for a brief period. That would be really dope. He was part of the God. What the fuck was it? Freedom Foundation? I can't remember.
Freedom Force.
It was something foundation. I can't remember what they were called, but they had really cool white and black uniform costumes. It was dope as shit.
Nice.
Yeah, dude. I'm excited for what could happen.
That was my main question for you going into this. Is I was like, I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of things to say about the execution here, but I'm like, at the end of the day, they're kind of answering a lot of your problems.
It's the same thing I said about fucking Far From Home, where the ending, I was just like, yo, man, where are they gonna go with this? Yeah, you know, and I'm hoping that we explore the vast world of Spider-Man.
Do you think that this movie has its own identity? And obviously it does, because they're pre-established, but do you think it has its own identity and it doesn't feel like they were ripping off Into the Spider-Verse?
That's a good question.
I feel like since it's
like
properties we already know, it's fine.
Exactly. We're not seeing any surprises here. There's no Spider-Man noir. There's no anime.
There's no pigs.
There's no Peter Porker. I will say, why didn't we get Italian Spider-Man? Why didn't we get shitty ass 1970s show Spider-Man? Why didn't we get the Japanese Spider-Man?
I think I missed it, but I heard people on social media talking about that they did the point meme, and I never saw it because it's my favorite. I love it at the end of Into the Spider-Verse.
I think it's in the end credits, and it's fucking Toby and fucking Andrew pointing at each other. I think, because I remember seeing it. I remember seeing it in the movie and being like, you know. But
I'm a big Spider-Man gamer.
I feel like they saw Into the Spider-Verse, you know, like everybody saw how much that took off, and they were like, yo, man, well, why don't we try to get us a piece? And I think it was very heavily inspired, and I already said Into the Spider-Verse light, and that's kind of what it is. I don't think that they're just like, we can do it too, you know, or anything like that. I think that they were inspired by that film.
It had its own idea of how it worked,
but they had, because the moments between it was a much smaller cast of Parkers too, and I think that was to its benefits, honestly, because Into the Spider-Verse, if I have one complaint about it, is that there's so after Spider-Gwen shows up, you get Noir, you get Peter Porker, you get the Penny Parker. And I feel like the three of them are just kind of like,
they didn't have any agency
here.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of agency in the plot.
Fucking Spider-Ham is hilarious, and I think he's great, especially, you know, fucking I was washing my hands. No other reason. You know? That stuff's hilarious. So he gets a bit of comedic time. That's great. But Noir and Penny Parker especially are just kind of there.
Yeah.
So in this one, with the smaller cast of just the two extra Parkers, you get these really good emotional moments. And we talked about them already, where like even just Toby and Andrew on their own together, like cracking each other's backs. And, you know, Toby telling Andrew, you're like, no, dude, you're amazing. You're great. You know, it's just, that was cool as shit. You know, and the fact that like Andrew's not so good at the science compared to the other two, you know, and that was very on brand, I feel like, because like, honestly, as far as we know, the greatest achievement that Peter Parker ever had was building his own spiderweb shooters, you know, and it's just, he's a much more grounded blue collar. They were trying to go for a more Batman style, Christopher Nolan kind of thing with those. And that's what we got with that Peter Parker, was he was much more blue collary, I guess, everyman kind of thing. And
he was the good-looking, athletic, smart loser.
Smart nerd that everyone hated.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, he's still the one that looks the most like Peter Parker.
And I like that they did a thing where it showed how all of them stand different and have different builds.
They all have different moves and stuff. That was really cool. And they also, because like when they're swinging on the webs and everything, Andrew's got more of that Todd McFarlane, like my legs way above my head thing. And Tobey Maguire looks much more natural. And more superheroic poses. And Toby and Tom's got the more like new, like I'm going to, I do
the new cool, extreme athlete.
Cool, extreme athlete poses and stuff. Yeah, that was all really cool, man. I so many subtle things that are really cool.
Yeah.
But I think this movie stands on its own. I think they were very inspired by Into the Spider-Verse, but I don't feel like they were aping it, trying to rip it off or anything like that, dude.
That's what I thought too.
However, I will say, saw that trailer, that teaser for Into the Spider-Verse 2 Part 1, and I was like, dope, Miguel O'Hara. I was super pumped.
It does.
Because I love Spider-Man 2099.
It looks amazing.
It looks super cool. And there's a lot of speculation going around and stuff that there's going to be a bunch of the other Spider-Man going through, just because when he's falling through the different realities and stuff, the music subtly changes and people are thinking they're cues to other Spider-Man, and super cool.
Yeah, man, it's cool they have two distinct Spider-Man things running at the same time.
I am very disappointed because I really wanted there to be some kind of quick animated segment.
I totally thought there was going to be, but it would have taken away from the emotional weight.
It really took
once the three of them were together.
Yeah.
But at least they did the thing with Jamie Foxx.
You see, I also thought that Peter was going to end up in these other realities, and then they come back with him somehow.
Sure.
And that wasn't the way it worked, so it wouldn't have made sense. And why would, when they're trying to call Peter Parker forth, would they end up with Miles?
And especially since Miles exists in this reality already.
Miles, yeah. Well, we think, does Miles exist?
Yeah. Remember the
I know Donald Glover plays his uncle, Prowler.
Plays his uncle, and he says, my nephew's out on these streets, so that's Miles.
Okay, all right.
So Miles already exists in this reality.
That's right.
Which is another place for them to go.
Who knows if fucking Miles and the Prowler are going to show up.
That's exactly, yeah. So they have places to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Again, my wife loved it.
This is, and I've said it for all three. I know that these appeal to a lot of people, and that I am in an extreme minority that doesn't enjoy them. But
I expect a lot.
I've historically not enjoyed most of them. And I expect too much, honestly. I really do. And I know that. And it's a flaw, and I'm not going to fix it. But because so many people that I talk to are so pumped that Disney now owns the X-Men. And I'm like, no, I have no faith in their ability to deliver on the X-Men properly. We might get a proper lineup for once, but going through and reading old X-Men comics like I've been lately, I really, really, really think that X-Men needs to be a rated R property.
Probably.
I really do, and I don't mean like the violence and
Foxx was willing to go
there. Handle is Foxx was willing to go there, exactly. With Logan and Deadpool, and Deadpool is it's weird to bring the two up in the same sentence, but they're the only two rated R X-Men movies.
And also Deadpool made me the most interested about X-Men over all of those X-Men movies.
Well, and that the subject material of X-Men alone requires a more mature audience and stuff. And I'm not talking shit like they can't handle big problems in this, because the movies
New Mutants did an okay job.
New Mutants did fine. Yeah, New Mutants did an okay job. But Disney's Marvel touches on some of these issues, but they never have the balls to go all the way with it. And I would like to see them if they do these X-Men movies and stuff, which they're bringing out an X-Men cartoon. That's them dipping their toe in, seeing what people want to do. And even the X-Men cartoon is in the good episodes. Pretty fucking rough. So like, it's a very heavy subject to handle, and it's not necessarily family friendly. It's a lot of racism. It's a lot of sexism. It's a lot of hate that they're trying to overcome. And I wonder how they can handle that in a PG-13. Like, it has to be a borderline rated R for me. And I don't see them pushing that boundary.
I hear you.
And that's my problem with that. So I will reserve judgment from when that comes out. But like I'm saying, these Spider-Men are for a lot of people.
Yeah.
They're and that's cool. That's fine. There's always an audience for something out there. I don't have to be a part of that audience. Mm-hmm. And for me, these movies don't work, but I totally get why they do for other people.
For sure. Yeah. And it had its issues. It kind of betrayed some of the things that I had set aside that I didn't want to see, and they brought them back. And I agree it's important, but it's now the time. Is a lot to put into one movie.
Yeah.
It's a complicated movie for me.
Yeah.
I will definitely say that I enjoyed it on the whole. So,
well, yeah. It's weird because you bring that up, and I think about it now, and Eternals felt like 3 movies mashed into one, because I don't think they really had any faith in that going anywhere. And this one feels like 2 movies smashed into one. Like, we were supposed to see like him and all his problems, and then he tries to fix him at the end, and then the next film is the repercussions, which is what the last half of the movie is. I feel like they mashed 2 movies together, and that's why it's so
we didn't have
kind of a mess.
I finally get what you're saying. We didn't have enough time of old school public turning against Spider-Man time.
Yeah.
He wasn't out Spider-Manning where people didn't like him at all in the beginning of the movie. That would have been nice to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we just had a lot of people being like, get a picture with me, Peter Parker.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, oh God, I hate the way that they treat
it was him dealing with
movies.
Celebrity and less of
you
like
murdered somebody.
Vigilante.
You got a little bit of it where like Mysterio, you know, I believe Mysterio.
And Hannibal Buress was mean to him.
That was kind of funny. that one did kind of get me where his 2 fanboys are just like, he's just like, you made that yourself. Mysterio was right.
He killed a guy.
You killed a guy. They're just like, we're welcome to have you back. And I was like, see, and this is what my problem with the movie is everybody's just like, oh, Peter Parker's Spider-Man. I was like, he fucking possibly murdered a guy? We need more public backlash.
I've always been a fan of what they did with Flash, and I thought Flash was pretty funny in this one.
Flash was tolerable for me in this one, especially since he bleached his hair blonde and looks like a total asshole. I don't know. It's just Flash being such a piece of shit to him when they were kids, when they were friends at one point in time. It's like, God, you're such a and in this one, it's just, you're a completely unlikable character. Like, I don't care if you're in this movie at all. Like, you're not, that's the thing that I've been completely unable to separate myself from. Is just like, no, Peter is the one that no one likes. Yes, he's super smart. Everyone acknowledges that, but everybody hates him. And in this one, they're just like, Peter Parker. And in this, his bully is just an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, that no one cares about, you know? And it's just like, I don't understand. What's the conflict? You know, he's just a pain in the ass.
Hey,
That's
it's like 21 Jump Street, man.
Yeah,
the classic bully is kind of not a concept anymore.
That's too, but
it is. And I know, I should probably put that out there. That is actually a real thing.
Yeah, we will.
But in terms of media,
real bullying doesn't quit. So you could do a whole movie about him getting harassed at school and then online, you know?
Mm-hmm. But I mean, when it comes down to the Flash and an Amazing Spider-Man, I'm just like, oh, Jesus Christ. Watch this shit again.
They have one moment in Amazing
where he's
Spider-Man
sorry about his uncle because they used to be friends.
That's the only moment that I'm ever going to, like, but then in like Deathstroke, is just like, yo, Tobey Maguire, fuck you. And that's the only scene he gets.
You know what I realized, and I should have realized this sooner while I was watching this movie? I believe Endgame, Shang-Chi, Endgame, Far From Home, Shang-Chi, Black Widow, Eternals, and this movie. No Stan Lee cameos. Yeah. They obviously hadn't filmed any.
I know.
I'm like, damn, I I finally realized that I've been missing him.
That's why I got mad about that Avi Arad thing, where I was just like, don't you dare try to Stan Lee Avi Arad, dude. Stan Lee may have been just a mouthpiece for everything and just filled in word bubbles, and Jack Kirby did all the real work. But Stan was still there from the beginning, and Stan has always been faithful and believed in this stuff. Fuck you, Avi. Yeah, I just don't want to see future films, if Spider-Man or not, future Marvel films where I get an Avi fucking Arad goddamn cameo. Yeah. I will pee on the projection.
Pee on the DLP projection. Oh man. Well, I think that will probably wrap that up.
That's my final take.
Yeah. I mean, there we go. Hopefully that lived up to the hype. I had a feeling it was going to be more par for the course with us.
Yeah, I think this is the one we've discussed in depth the most.
Oh, for sure. It has the most.
There's so much.
It's less just like, this is bad. And I'm like, well, I think it's good. And that goes nowhere. To be honest, that's kind of boring.
I got to be honest. You could tell that they were dyeing fucking Benedict Cumberbatch's beard and his hair in this one. And I like that they find the box of hair dye so much. And it brought it to my attention so much that when they were doing the trailer for Madness, I was just like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Just let him be gray.
I thought they were fucking with me. I thought after they showed the hair dye, I swore that his beard and hair got darker.
It did seem darker. Right? Yes.
I swear it did.
And then when they showed the trailer for Madness, I was just like, you hair drying pit. Have some fucking dignity, man.
Oh, that's funny. Anyway, yeah. The first couple we talked about. The second one, I don't even remember. I barely remember the movie, let alone talking about it. I think we were both like, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Here are our problems with it. Yeah, you're not wrong. The first one, a lot of people probably don't know this. I edited that first one, and I was like, wow, I was being a little unreasonable.
Yeah. Kept shutting me down all the time. Just being like, you're just going to talk about that movie the whole fucking time. And I was just like, yes, because it's a better film.
Yeah. While slightly entertaining, overall, it was not a good discussion of the movie, if we're being honest.
It was really funny because like a week after we posted it, we were hanging out and he's like, yo, man, I edited that. My bad. Dude.
Yeah.
My B.
And I think that this is a very good discussion of this movie and where Spider-Man is going.
Much like Peter Parker, we have grown.
True.
And we have found our way home.
If you're looking for a little more conflict, maybe next episode will be for you because we have Hawkeye and the new Matrix movie we're talking about.
Oh,
we've seen both of them.
I got some shit to say about the Matrix because,
Mm-hmm.
Hawkeye, I think we're going to be on the same level.
Yeah, I'm sure. So look forward to that. That's next episode. Those have already been watched. We're going to get that recorded soon.
Yep.
That'll be the next episode. You heard it here first, but you can find us on all major podcasting apps, including Apple, Anchor, Spotify, Google, whatever. YouTube. We are Mighty Fish Productions on YouTube. That's where you can find this in video form, if that's what you want to call it. Along with our original series, Classic Catch-Up. I think I said that already. And twitch.tv/Mighty Fish Productions. You can find us on there playing whatever. And yeah, we'll be back next week with another episode.
Yep.
This has been a good one. I'm Ryan.
I'm still John.
I don't have any jokes to sign off
you
on
have
this
no
one.
jokes
I have nothing.
on this one.
I
you got nothing, dude.
We'll just all right, bye.